Good Thursday evening, everybody. It is now May 7th, 2026. I am Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Welcome to Live Weather Impact. We actually are tracking rain. We had a ton of rain last night. We'll talk about that, obviously, because it was the best rain that we've seen in like a year. I mean, it was crazy amount of rain. But we do have storms we're still tracking. That's how good this pattern is. So let's go right to the cameras. Our Dallas camera starting to show. We're kind of surrounded. We've got storms to the north and the south of our Dallas camera. We've got storms moving towards Charlotte right now. I've been watching a couple of cameras. You see the clouds over uptown, but certainly some heavy rain moving into the area. So let's get right to the radar and kind of show you how we're kind of surrounded, because there's a couple cells that have my interest right now. Nothing is severe. I will definitely preface that. But you see the storms that are all around us. I'm going to go into Gaston County because in Gaston County, one cell north of Dallas, that might have some small hail in it, right there just north of Dallas on 321. But then we go south of Gastonia and then head back towards like the Crowder's Mountain area. That cell too might have a little small hail in it. And again, there's cold enough air aloft that pea-sized hail is certainly possible. And then we have another storm down near Fort Mill, Tega Cay, heading over towards Indian Land, and then heading over towards Weddington. So these are all kind of around us, and these are legit thunderstorms. So they're producing some really heavy rain, some small hail, and probably more importantly, it's really cold. This cold air that's coming in behind the front, temperatures are dropping about 20 degrees as this front moves through. These do extend all the way out to the east as well. I had an old storm track there. That's probably not going to do it justice, so I'll just loop it here and kind of show you the general movement of these cells off to the south and east. And again, these are heading right for Charlotte. So Quail Hollow, they're still playing right now, but I think they're waiting for any minute for the horn to sound. And I'm looking at the lightning data. No lightning within 8 miles of the course. So while it's getting dark out there and windy, they're not going to delay, because they actually had a big delay today. They didn't start to 12:30, so that makes it difficult.
There's something on the Dallas camera.
Oh, there's a nice rainbow.
Yeah, something on the Dallas camera that won't show up on radar is that rainbow.
Yeah, so and you can see it's pouring right now. So we're looking, looks like due southwest, yes, kind of like. That's that storm that's over like Gastonia and south of Interstate 85. Now, I'll back this up because I want to show the temperatures here. I went too quick there. I'm going to go back up. This is what I'm talking about. Look how cold it is behind. I went too far. We'll go to the temperatures again because the temperatures are telling my computer does not like me today. But the temperatures are crazy right now. When this front moves in, look at this. We've dropped about 10 degrees in the last 5 minutes. And in Salisbury, it's 58. It's almost 80 degrees north of this front. So there's a 20-degree drop in temperature once this thing moves through. So just be ready. If you don't have your jacket with you, this might be a little shock to the system. So shower and storm probably for the next hour. This should clear out fairly quickly. This is not going to be like last night where it picks up and continues to go into the overnight. This is going to be about it once it moves out. So your overnight temperatures, it's going to be cold tomorrow morning. If you're going out to the Truist, again, they've got another delayed start. I think they're going to start at 11 or 11:30. I'll have to check with Nick, but they were going to have another delay, probably go threesomes again to get things rolling. They won't have the big delay like they had today. They didn't go off till after lunchtime because of the rain, but tomorrow they should be able to get started on time. But certainly want the light jacket in the morning and throughout the day, because even with sunshine, getting to 70, 72 is about it. So that is a cold day tomorrow, all in all, keeping temperatures cool. And here's what I'm talking about. Our futurecast shows those showers moving out by tomorrow morning. They're all gone. We're in the 40s, maybe some 30s out there. Pretty cool day tomorrow, 60s and 70s. We go into Saturday, and I've talked to Tim about this. Some of our guidance is hinting at a bigger chance of rain Saturday than others. I do think there's rain chances. I just don't think it's going to be as high as some of the guidance we're seeing. So I'm going to keep the rain chances around 30, 40%. So if you are heading out there, you're definitely going to want to grab the umbrella. Quick update on the drought monitor, because we got all this rain, right? People immediately go, is the drought over? It is not over, and we'll preach this for a while. But I will also tell you, any of the rain last night and this morning did not go into this week's drought monitor. This is only from Tuesday to Tuesday data. So we actually saw an expansion of the extreme drought. Our whole area is in an extreme or exceptional drought. That is not going to change. Now, could it go down a little bit next week? Because of the rain we saw, it certainly could, but not by a lot. You have to remember these numbers, the amount of rain it takes to end a drought. Before last night's rain, we needed 15 plus inches. We only got 1 to 2 inches. So even if you go the high end, 2 inches, that means we're still 13 and a half inches behind. So we've got a long ways to go, and we'll talk about that with Tim, but it could be a while before we see anything remotely close to being out of the drought. So here's a quick look at your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. The good news here is we do have more rain chances, and they're not going to be widespread, but there are rain chances both Saturday and again Sunday into Monday, and then again Wednesday. So if you're going out to the Truist this weekend, bring your golf umbrella, bring your rain gear, bring good shoes because the course is soaked. This is by far the most rain they've ever seen during a tournament. I keep diligent stats of this, and the previous record was like just under an inch for all 4 rounds. Today we got 2 inches out there. So it's a wet one, and so it's going to be wet out there. Next week we're in the 70s, cooler conditions, but by next weekend, mid-80s. So stick around. Tim Buckley is back with me today. We're talking drought. We're going to talk rain. We've got a lot to talk about. We're coming up in 2.5 minutes.
Weather Impact Live with Brad Panovich is sponsored by Moisture Lock, crawl space, basement, and foundation repair experts serving the Carolinas since 1988.
Tired of all this rain? Does your yard look like a swamp after it rains? Hi, I'm Greg Doggett with Moisture Lock, Charlotte's premier waterproofing and foundation repair company. The longer water sits, the softer soil will become. This can cause foundation issues. If you're having drainage issues, contact Moisture Lock. We'll get the water away from your home and out of your yard.
Moisture Lock. Stabilize, enhance, protect.
Welcome back, everybody. Tim Buckley joins me from WFMY, and so we've got storms out there now, Tim, but I do want to start with the rain last night because we got clobbered down here. I mean, we had some guidance showing over 2 inches, and I kind of doubted it a little bit. I said, maybe an inch, and we had to believe it when you see it. People say, no way, we're getting 2 inches, and in some cases, Tim, we got more than 2 inches. It really was a soaker down here. I know we got some good rain, and our northern counties not as much. In Statesville, Salisbury got like a half an inch. How did you guys end up doing? I know you were a little worried that a lot of it was going to stay down our way.
Yeah, we're green with envy up here a little bit at you guys. I got to say, we only got about a third of an inch at Greensboro, Winston-Salem, those areas. So we're happy with it. It's still nice. It's our most rain that we've had since March, if you can believe it. But only about 0.4 of an inch at PTI in Greensboro. I know Winston-Salem got only about 0.3 of an inch. It just depends on where you were. Lexington was closer to 0.6, but we knew that there would be winners and losers. It just happened to be that really the Charlotte area, southern Piedmont, really got the most. It's almost like Mecklenburg County was a little bit of a bullseye, don't you think, compared to all the other areas?
Yeah, I was actually somewhat surprised because at one point yesterday we had like 3 or 4 tenths, and then all of a sudden before midnight it shot up to almost an inch, and then I could see redevelopment to the west, which was kind of interesting. You know, we were always watching like storms in Tennessee and Alabama trying to head our way, but we actually had cells developing near us, which was something I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if, James, you can bring my laptop up. So this is going to be hard to read, but we have a FINS network here. It's all our stormwater services bring in. Look at some of these totals, Tim. You probably could see them, but that's Mecklenburg County. I mean, there's a lot of 1, 2, and even some 3-inch totals. That is a huge amount of rain for us. The airport officially 2.03, which is the most rain since last August. And really, it's been 6 months in some cases. But you're right, a lot of areas got really heavy rain, and then into the upstate there was like this swath of heavy rain down towards Greenville, Spartanburg, and then you see the green colors. I know it's really messy. That's where all the light stuff was. It just didn't. There wasn't much up in this area.
Right.
And for us, Tim, we're getting a bazillion questions about water restrictions and drought. We know it's not ending the drought, but for us, this really didn't help the water restrictions that much because the headwaters of the Catawba Watery Basin are in the mountains and foothills, which is kind of northwest, and it didn't rain much up there. So refilling like Lake Norman, Lake Wiley, all those big lakes, that really didn't hit it. This was much better for South Carolina because all that water's flowing down there and not into the Charlotte area.
Yeah, that was going to be a question I was having. Other people were bringing up, like, what about those mandatory water restrictions? But like you said, it doesn't always, it flows downhill, right? So it matters where the rain is coming from. And
yes.
You can kind of see it. This is a 2-day rainfall map here.
Yep.
And maybe just looking at the colors just kind of tells the story overall.
Yeah.
The yellows and the oranges from South Carolina to Georgia, really heavy rainfall for them. I did see parts of western North Carolina were showing some 3 and 4-inch totals out here by like Murphy. And then there's you guys down in Charlotte. And up here in the Piedmont Triad, we did okay, but even, the worst places to be, those Virginia border counties, basically a 1/10 of an inch at best, and that was about it over the last 2 days. So it's really hard to get these things to add up without downpours. You really needed to have some of those downpours to set up and rejuvenate over your area, which still continue to happen even as we wrap up today.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice. We're actually getting another round down here. We've had the cold front, which let's talk about that because that cold front meant business. I saw earlier, we were watching it. You guys were like 56 and it was like 75 in Salisbury at one point. And I was like, wow, that cold front means business. And that's what's driving a lot of the storms this evening. So I think a lot of folks are like excited for the rain, but I'm also like warning people, if you go outside, make sure you have a jacket because the temperature's dropping like 20, 25 degrees in like 5 minutes.
I know. It really was amazing. I wonder if I'm able to pull this up. So I'm going to look here to see if I can get like a 24-hour temperature map for us. So if we look at about 11 o'clock this morning, and this is up in the Piedmont area, the Triad area. So everyone was about the same around 11 o'clock, and it was raining and cloudy at that point. But here you see Danville and Roxborough. That's the front. So we call this a backdoor cold front when it comes in from that direction. Once you get to 1 o'clock, there it's really showing. And two things are happening. You're getting the cold air to move in from the north, but at this point back in the foothills, the sun's coming out. And it wasn't out before. So one area is heating, the other area is dynamically cooling. And so this is the big difference. Asheboro at 60, Albemarle at 75. That's around 4 o'clock. You got 58 next to 77 there. That's also when we saw a big nasty storm pop up right north of Albemarle, putting down some hail in southern Davidson County. So this is kind of the cool thing about weather. You get these big changes over just a couple county area. And this front is still rolling south. So it's already, I believe, pushed through Charlotte now, Brad, and it's going farther south from there.
Yeah, so it's basically, we had the outflow boundary come through. It got really windy out at the Truist. We were watching the video out there. They haven't had a delay yet because there's no lightning out there, but they're going to get soaked here in a minute because what's happened is we've seen a big storm develop over in Gaston County. This one might have had some small hail with it between Gastonia and Belmont. What's interesting, Tim, is Brittany and I were talking about this. This is going to go back over our airport, so we're going to add to our total today. We were kind of interested to see how much higher our daily total might go if this downpour goes over Charlotte Douglas. And then if for folks that are watching the Truist on ESPN Plus or going to watch it this weekend, there's Quail Hollow Club on the map. I got it kind of in the middle there. They're dry right now. They're actually kind of in the middle of a void, but they got that gust front, and we could see the wind blowing around out there. Another storm down to the south. This is near the state line between Fort Mill and Weddington, kind of in that panhandle of Lancaster County. And then the storm that Tim was talking about that was initially out towards Asheboro, that's kind of fallen apart a little bit because the cold air is kind of taken over, but there's still some scattered cells trying to develop along this. And what's interesting, the individual cells are moving east, but the whole line is dropping south. And if you look real closely over Charlotte, you can actually see that skinny little green line. That was an outflow boundary, or might have even been the cold front itself pushing south. And we went from 78 to 66 in about 5 minutes, and now we're 63. But down in Rock Hill and Gastonia, they're still 78, 77 degrees. So it's pretty wild to see that front drop in like this and give us, some decent rain chances, some lightning as well, some small hail. That's what we saw as well, Tim. I got some pea-sized hail reports out of this. And that kind of sets the stage for what will be a pretty cold start tomorrow, Tim. For folks that are going to be getting up early tomorrow, we could see some 30s and 40s across the area, which is going to make for a pretty cold start to your Friday before we dry things back out, at least to start the weekend.
One more time. I feel like I've said that, I don't know, a half a dozen times now.
Yeah.
Just cover the plants one more time.
Yeah, just in case.
You might not need to do that overnight, but if you have tomatoes, you got the vegetables, you got tropical plants on the deck, it's going to be right around 40 degrees to start Friday. And it will be cold out there to start, but it's a beautiful day. It's really a great day of weather for Friday after where we are now. I'm thinking, don't you think that air is going to be super crisp and clear and nice blue sky? It's going to be a beautiful Friday.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow because to me, it's a Chamber of Commerce type day. It's just going to be gorgeous, beautiful.
Yep.
The rain is going to clear everything out and kind of help everything, kind of make everything a little bit cleaner. The atmosphere has been kind of cleansed a little bit here. This is the biggest rain we've had, so we still had some pollen, and I would almost call it dust. That's felt like it was around. To get 2 inches of rain, I'm really excited because it kind of washed my gutters out, washed my roof off, got everything kind of finally a good gully washer that kind of got everything cleansed out. That's been sitting here, it feels like, for 2 months that we just have not been able to get rid of. Let's talk about the drought, though, Tim, because it is Thursday, and as everyone knows, it's Drought Monitor Day. And because of the rain, everybody asks, are we out of the drought? So we got to get this big caveat. We kind of set this up yesterday. None of the rain last night or today counts for this week's drought monitor. It will count in next week's drought monitor. But we did see a slight worsening. And again, we're kind of splitting hairs here because the extreme drought did expand in the Western Carolinas by about 5%. And pretty much for us, Tim, pretty much all of our counties and your counties now are in extreme drought. It's hard to find an area that's not in extreme drought right now.
A little bit of an expansion of that. Some of our counties that weren't in it just yet, they got included in there, so just kind of filling in those gaps, like you said. But overall, a fairly steady report for the most part this week. And, you already said so. It does not include last night's rain. It doesn't include today's rainfall. And even a little bit of that rain last week, I think, was still not included in today's report. So no surprises here. I think there'll be a lot of focus and a lot of intrigue on next week's report. But I don't know what you think, Brad. Don't be too surprised. It's not a guarantee they're going to reduce things by a category necessarily. I think that might be a farther down the line thing if we continue our wetter pattern. But they're going to make some phone calls. They have a lot of ways that they go about assessing these things, and our deficits are pretty big. That you'd need to see some pretty substantial improvements to reduce the drought, I think.
Yeah, because if you look at it from strictly a drought monitor standpoint, they focus on the impacts of the rain. So did we replenish any surface water like stream flows, lakes, the water restriction part? Probably not going to see a lot of relief there because a lot of what fell today kind of soaked in because there wasn't much room for it to run off. And if it did run off, it ran south out of our area. The other thing is, how much did this help like crop moisture? I don't know if it's, I think lawns and some pastures probably got some improvement. I think the biggest thing, and we saw this happen today, Tim, was we're finally got all of the counties removed from the burn ban. And it takes this is really what it takes to get out of a burn ban. Just a little bit of moisture, right? You don't need it to be a downpour, but just add some humidity or moisture to the fuel sources. I think that has been the biggest improvement, is the wildfire risk has at least been dampened down temporarily.
Yeah, it's really lowering. So that burn ban was lifted, and I was wondering if they would do it or not, because some of these counties only got a 0.2 of an inch of rainfall, but maybe it's cleaner just to do it all at once here. That ban is no longer in effect. I kind of added this on my own. When you have the dry, windy days, you sure better use caution still, because it's not going to take all that much for us to dry out from here. And then just looking at our fire risk as put out by the state over the next couple of days, it's not in the high category. It's in the moderate category. And that's a big change. That's probably the biggest, near-term difference from when you get this rainfall, but you're still in the drought. There's still some real impact, so it's good for campers. We have minor league baseball parks. I'm sure you guys do too. They've been canceling the fireworks shows because it's there's a statewide burn ban. So it was over a month that they've been having to do that. That'll be a change now going forward. So small little victories here that we'll watch for it into the weekend.
Yeah, and just this week's drought monitor, I love that the state puts out their little summary, and just a couple the tidbits they threw in there. King, North Carolina, had 0.42 inches of rain last week, but it's still the record driest start to the year since 2000. The burn bans mentioned. Obviously, the Catawba River chain, which includes everybody from like the foothills down to Charlotte. It's the Catawba watery water basin. There's stage 2 water restrictions. It's just not Charlotte. It's like Statesville, it's Hickory, it's all these towns along the Catawba. That is still in effect, because that water is going to take, we're not talking inches, we're talking feet below for some of these levels. And then I thought this was interesting, an inch of rain in Grantham County, the groundwater saw a small uptick, but it's still at monthly record lows, which is not a good sign. That's the one thing that's hard to gauge, Tim, is groundwater. I had someone ask me about wells today, and from what I know about groundwater and well water, it's the last to notice it, but it's also the last to recover, because it takes so long to replenish the groundwater. So the people with wells, you're probably thinking, oh, my well's great, but I would probably conserve now, because you probably will start having a delayed effect of the drought, because it takes a while for that to go down. And then when we do get rain, it takes so long for the recharge of the groundwater. I think that those are people I worry about, because that's always a longer term recovery.
And that's not a good feeling, knowing that you're relying on, you got to use that water that you have. That's your only source of that water, right? If you're not on the city water or anything like that. So good things to be thinking about. I got to tell you, Brad, I'm not so sure necessarily where we're headed this weekend with either Saturday or Sunday into Monday. I think these rain chances are debatable, to say the least. And I'm not quite sure what to do with the forecast. I was telling folks, please keep checking back. We'll have some updates for you at 11 and then again tomorrow. But there might need to be some last-minute adjustments either way with both Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, so our in-house model, which we saw too, kind of went crazy with rain on Saturday, which came out of left field, to be honest with you. So I started looking at other guidance, Tim, and most of the other guidance hints at just isolated or scattered, not the heavy rain. So I'm kind of hesitant to go all in on one piece of information. But I certainly think there's going to be rain chances around both Saturday and Sunday. It's just scattered, right? I don't think it's going to be too crazy. I would definitely, if I'm doing anything outside this weekend, I would definitely keep an eye in the sky. And for everybody heading out to the Truist Championship here locally, bring the golf umbrella. You're definitely going to want to keep that, because at some point, if you spend all day on the golf course, there's a chance you might run into a stray shower. So yeah, I think that's a good point to check back, because this is kind of every spring, Tim, honestly. I think we forget, like, springtime is kind of the time of year when we get pop-up thunderstorms and showers, and just about any time you normally could get rain. It just hasn't been this spring. It's been kind of weird. So now that we're back to that pattern, it's like you got to remember and kind of remind yourself, like, oh yeah, this is the way spring weather tends to be around here.
Yeah, it's very rare for us to have so much certainty in our spring weekends like we've been having. It's just been dry. Now it's kind of back to normal, maybe. Hopefully, that would be a good thing. Hopefully, people can still remember how to drive in the rainfall. I saw that traffic back up on the camera James was showing us just there. It doesn't look too good, but then again, that's just Charlotte rush hour, I guess.
Yeah, those wipers probably have dry rot on them, so they're probably trying to figure out how to use those things. And by the way, it's next to your turn signal, and that's the other knob that you guys could try using. That works really well in Charlotte as well. Yeah, we got some rain moving in here. Real quickly, Tim, I don't know if we have time to run the package, James, but we did national weather story. We had some big tornadoes down in Mississippi, and I know you were following them because we kind of all follow on social media. Some long track, violent tornadoes. The one thing that we ran a lot of national packages today, Tim, and I think one thing that's lost on the national coverage and even people in general, we had that Enid EF4 in Oklahoma, and last night we had a tornado that damaged 500 homes, and in both cases, Tim, no fatalities. That is the success of the warning system, in my opinion, that we had two very violent tornadoes in populated areas, but thank goodness we didn't have fatalities in either event.
It's kind of amazing, and when you put the numbers on that, like you did with the amount of homes that were destroyed and touched, that is, stunning. And a blessing, to be sure, but hopefully a victory for the warning process. These were very well warned tornadoes. They were forecasted, and so much so that they were calling this a tornado emergency at many points last evening. And for some towns in Mississippi, they only do that when they know a lot of damage is happening and will continue to happen. So very serious. They've been pretty clear of severe weather so far this spring. Last night kind of went back to the way it can be in Mississippi.
And I'll give flowers to both the broadcasters and local forecasters at the Weather Service in both of those locations. Those are both weather savvy demographics, and they're also very good meteorologists that are warning people. And I think that it's not a mistake that there were no fatalities, because I think those communities have really good people covering them, and they take severe weather very seriously, Tim.
For sure. There are no places that are busier when it comes to tornadoes than Oklahoma and Mississippi.
Yeah, for sure. So thank goodness we're not seeing that yet, but I think our time's coming at some point, Tim. We're out of time today. Hopefully you're dodging the raindrops out there. We'll see you tomorrow right back here on a Live Weather Impact.